Good morning. It is 7 a.m. on this Sunday. I'm Tyler Finger. Fox 10 News is in storm mode this morning. We are tracking the tropics as a threat brews in the Gulf. Tropical Storm Sally, which could become a hurricane before landfall, has its sights set on the northern Gulf Coast. Our area already under a tropical storm warning. Meteorologist Matt Barentine is here now with the brand new 7 a.m. advisory that was just released. Matt, good morning.
That's right, Tyler. And yeah, this will become a hurricane before it makes landfall. That's exactly what we're expecting. That's the forecast, and likely it could be even a Category 2 hurricane at landfall. So a lot to break down here for you. So get on your listening ears and pay attention, because get ready. We're about to deal with a major system as it heads our way. Right now, you can see there's a 3D imagery of it on the west coast of Florida, working its way out into the Gulf. It's making that beeline here across the Gulf. It's going to be a very slow mover. That's kind of the deal with this system. There's that close-in look. If you look right about here, there's that low-level circulation. Most of the clouds and storminess are on the southeast side of this thing. That's good. That means it's not very healthy at the moment. The longer we can keep it unhealthy, the better off we will be. But eventually we think this thing will get itself organized pretty well, and it's going to be moving across 87, 88 degree water here, and that will allow it to become a much stronger storm. So we do anticipate that it will intensify to a hurricane. Right now it's got winds of 50 miles per hour moving to the west-northwest at about 13 miles per hour. So what are we under right now? Tropical storm warnings across our area. Hurricane warnings are off to the west of us. So we're starting to see the forecast cone get chiseled down a little bit and a little bit more off to the west. So good news for us, but doesn't leave us in the clear by any measure. All right, storm surge, 2 to 4 feet is what we're expecting in our area. So certainly could see some issues on Dauphin Island, Fort Morgan Peninsula, even as far over as Fort Pickens, and causeway areas, both on the Dauphin Island and the main causeway. So some vulnerable areas will be getting some inundation from the water. Here's what it looks like with the newest track. And the trajectory has it basically going right towards the mouth of the Mississippi, which, yeah, that's a little bit off to the west and south of us. So that's good news overall. But the problem with this system is that two things. One, it's going to be slowing down almost to walking speed. That's Monday at 1, Tuesday at 1 a.m. So it's just barely moving. And then on this side, of course, the right-hand side of any landfalling tropical system is always the strongest side. It's always the wettest side. And we're going to be on that side because of the angle this is coming in at for a long time. And particularly our coastal areas south of I-10 are likely to get multiple bands rolling through over several days, and that will drop a lot of rain. And then eventually it's going to curl back around. And as it does that, we'll say, well, it's moving away. Great. Yeah, but it's still going to be drawing moisture in from the Gulf of Mexico into that circulation, which will go right through our area. So a couple more days of rain are possible even after this thing makes landfall. All right, so here's one of the looks at it, the NAM model, the North American model. It's a high resolution model. Here's tonight at around 8 o'clock. That's likely we're going to start to see our first rain bands, say over into the Panhandle and maybe along the beaches in Mobile and Baldwin counties. The inland areas, though, probably stay away from the rain until late tonight. And then as we head on into Monday morning, you can see right offshore there, that's Pensacola, directly offshore most likely. Some of those heavy rain bands, like I said, right along the beaches. Now you go farther inland, if you're up in Jackson or Thomasville or Monroeville, you're like, well, it's just cloudy. Yeah, you're not going to get into it like the folks here along the coastline are. It's going to be really nasty stuff during the day here on Monday, and you can see how quickly it could be lessened as you move inland. So just because you're not getting tropical storm force winds or even hurricane force winds doesn't mean the folks to the south of you aren't, okay? Because that's just the way this thing is going to work out as it sort of skims down here along our coastline. Here we are around midnight on Tuesday, going into Tuesday during the day. Sometime during the day on Tuesdays when all the models are a little different in the timing exactly, but most of them have it during the day on Tuesday somewhere. This one has it more into Tuesday morning. As a fairly significant system moving on in. You can see how much rain we'd be getting on the right-hand side of all that. So it's going to be significant for us. Tropical storm warning for our area. There's still a hurricane watch as well up for Mobile and Baldwin County in case it does jog a little bit more to the east. Slow moving, tons of rain. That really is the #1 headline for us. Rip currents and coastal flooding are going to be issues as well. The good news here, guys, is that I've actually been able to lower the rain chances for today because those outer bands are still a good ways away from us. So today's actually going to be fairly quiet. So you've got some things you need to wrap up, get that boat secure or get that trampoline bungee corded to the ground or something, you got time to do all that here today, because right now things are really quiet. As we start off with, it'll be sort of a hot and humid and breezy day here for us across the Gulf Coast. Pretty typical day, except we'll be waiting on Tropical Storm Sally. More details on that storm coming up in a few minutes.
Definitely something to pay attention to. Matt, thank you. We'll check in with you in just a little bit. The main concern for now with Tropical Storm Sally, all of the water it could bring. Officials say now is the time to get ready. Video from yesterday shows the conditions in southwest Florida. A lot of wind and rain as emergency managers in our area are locked on this system and all of its potential danger. Baldwin County EMA Director Zach Hood warning of storm surge and flooding.
If you live in a flood-prone area, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you need to be in a place to where you can monitor the rivers in your community. We have some fantastic river gauges, and a lot of people do not know that you can subscribe to those gauges.
The Baldwin County EMA plans to meet today with county partners to make any decision as it relates to keeping people safe. The primary spots of concern in Baldwin County for some flooding are along Fort Morgan, the beaches, Styx River, and Fish River. Across the bay, another vulnerable spot on the Gulf Coast, Dauphin Island. They're preparing as well, not long after cleaning up from Hurricane Laura's mess. Dauphin Island Mayor Jeff Collier says they're ready to go at it again. Coastal flooding can cost thousands of dollars in damage as sand and debris are pushed on shore. If things get rough, some residents may be asked to leave the island until it's deemed safe. In a statement on Facebook, Mayor Collier saying in part, quote, "As we've come to learn, working together, we can keep everyone safe and protect property. Let's do it one more time." People living near Bayou Sara are getting prepared just in case flooding happens there. Earlier this year, things got rough out there, and even though the cause of springtime flooding is different than a tropical threat, the potential for flooding is always there. For now, the waters are calm, but an unspoken rule for people who live by the water: better safe than sorry. The city of Saraland taking to social media today, encouraging residents to make preparations for Sally. They're distributing sandbags only for those who live in Saraland from 1 this afternoon to 5 this evening, and tomorrow from 6:30 in the morning until 2:30. At the Saraland Public Works Department, there is a limit to 10 bags per home. They will also prepare the safe room on Celeste Road to provide shelter for residents in need during the storm. They're expected to give more details on exactly how they will provide that shelter safely. The city of Pascagoula also distributing self-serve sandbags this morning starting at 10 a.m. at the Jackson County Fairgrounds on Shortcut Road. They are asking residents to bring shovels. As this storm bears down on the Gulf Coast, Louisiana is declaring a state of emergency. Tropical Storm Sally is expected to bring high winds, heavy rain, life-threatening storm surge, and even the possibility of tornadoes. As Britt Conway reports this morning, the timing couldn't be worse.
This is Sally, a record-breaking storm taking aim at the Gulf Coast. The city of New Orleans is getting ready.
Everyone needs to take this very seriously.
And for good reason. The state is still recovering from Hurricane Laura. New Orleans is still helping out about 12,000 evacuees from that storm, all while trying to get ready for another storm headed their way. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards has declared a state of emergency, and he's asking people to make sure they check their emergency supply kits. Sally is the 18th named storm on record. The last time we saw the 18th storm this early was the same year Hurricane Katrina hit back in 2005.
I am issuing a mandatory evacuation order for residents outside of our levee protection system.
Sally is expected to get stronger over the weekend, making landfall on the Gulf Coast early next week. Meteorologist Allison Chinchar says the real concern is how much this storm is expected to slow down.
Notice that cone on the back side begins to get rather large. It's not because they don't know where it's going to go. It's because once it gets close to the coastline, it's anticipated to slow incredibly.
And when it does, it could dump more than a foot of rain along the Gulf Coast. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
The mayor of New Orleans says people have until 6 p.m. tonight to get out. Florida and Mississippi making the call to close parks along the coast ahead of Sally, shutting down at 5 last night with mandatory evacuations at the Fort Pickens campground today. In Mississippi, the Davis Bayou campground will also be evacuated by this morning. Once it's deemed safe to return, updates will be provided. And if you haven't already, now would be a great time to download the free FOX10 News app. You'll get breaking weather and news alerts so you can stay informed. You can also watch our newscasts live. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now or search for FOX10 News on your Apple or Android devices. It's also available on Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. We're asking questions this morning about a deadly crash on Highway 98 in Daphne. Police say northbound 98 reopened around 9:15 last night. No details on the identity of the victim, if anyone else was involved, or what caused the wreck. We'll let you know as soon as we learn more.